Today, we're living in a world of volatility, complexity, and uncertainty. As a leader, you need to become much more aware of how you tend to respond when you're faced with disruption, when you're faced with the unexpected, and that requires a different form of development, moving away from more theoretical learning to actually what we call here and now learning, which is being immersed in a situation, learning about how you respond and experimenting with different behaviors. Teams will first of all meet in small groups of 4 that will be peer learning groups throughout the entire journey. In that first meeting, they form enough connection to really form a deep learning group and define an experiment or something they want to work on during the immersive day itself. They then come on the ship. It's 2 ships of 12 people each, and they then have the immersive day of challenges with feedback scattered throughout. And then there's an action learning session at the end of the day that says, right, what have you learned and what are you going to experiment with now back at the workplace based on what you've learned today? They go away and they implement that back in the workplace, and then they complete the action learning cycle by meeting with their peer learning group at the end after about 2 to 3 weeks after the event.
People are going to be put through their paces on a whole load of different challenges: head, heart and hand. Head challenges are more cerebral. How do we work out exactly what we're going to do? Heart is more about relating to people. How do you convince someone to do what you would like them to do? And hand challenges, which are escape room type puzzles.
The context for Starship Academy is that this is your last mission before graduation as cadets. And the mission is really to visit 2 alien races, doing trade missions, and also doing a number of diplomatic missions with the aliens as well.
We are designing from the ground up here all the games and experiences. So there's certain things here that are very metaphorical for current business problems. So for example, we've got some things about influencing and assertion challenges. We've got games that are about strategic planning, complex problem solving and analytical thinking. We've got things that are under time pressure. We've got people dealing with disruption and unpredictable environments.
If there's no crystals, we're not going there. There's absolutely no way.
We know that we learn through play, but quite quickly for all of us, learning becomes pass or fail. And judgment is an integral part of our learning experience, which we know limits creativity and growth. But one of the key values of experiential learning is that it's a safe place to experiment with ways of communicating that might feel too high risk within the work environment, and to get feedback on how other people experience you when you try things differently.
Neuroscience will tell you that if we hide and mask kind of a profound learning experience in something as immersive as this incredible set, people are more likely to be their authentic selves and more likely to forget that they're being watched and they're being assessed or they're being taught something and just really engage with the process.
It would be great if you were a little less afraid of being directive towards the team.
One of the most important features of the day, alongside the experience itself, is the feedback, debrief and action learning sessions. A lot of our clients are all talking about the need for an open feedback culture in their businesses. But the way they're going about that is running training programs on how to give feedback. Problem with that, they know how to give feedback, but when you come back 6 months later, they're still not giving it to each other. You have to create environments where people are flooded with feedback and coming from not a place of there's something to fix in you, but actually this is for you to learn about yourself. And what we find is that through the immersive day, people start to love it. They start to see that, oh my goodness, this is really useful to me. And it can really set the seed for transforming your culture and your business overnight by getting people living and practicing everyday feedback and seeing the benefit of it.
For most leaders, they don't have time out to reflect on their performance of that day and reflect on how the people around them have performed. So if you give them an opportunity to not only perform in a different way, but also to reflect on how they are behaving and give feedback to others and receive feedback, that in itself can be so transformational and change the whole culture of how a team works together and ultimately the performance of a company.
When you've been through a learning experience that makes you feel something, where you experience the way you relate to others differently, you have a strong emotional response to that. And when we learn something and we have a strong emotional response, we remember it. So we're more likely to use it as a sort of guiding principle and to want to replicate it.
This has been designed for anyone really who needs to manage people or lead a team. So that could be anything from your first line managers but it can go all the way up into more senior executive roles as well. And this is not just a fun team building experience that would be a nice thing to go on. We've designed this to replicate the real life leadership challenges that leaders face back in the workplace. And the result is actually an experience that is transformative for everyone who's gone through it so far.
I'm really confident in what we're doing because we have such an amazing team of experts from all their different fields coming together working on this. We've had amazing feedback from people who've already been through this, saying they think it's the best thing they've ever done. And genuinely, we think we have the opportunity here to revolutionise the learning and development industry with this.